Hey everyone, it's Joel McDonald and Andy Cantu.
Hello.
Hey Andy, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good. I'm doing really good. I'm really excited for this topic, and for everyone just now joining in, I just want to give just a little bit of background for those of you who have been here since the beginning. A lot of people kind of jumped in January. And for those of you who are new, you're going to see a lot of the benefits of that. So a little bit of background on how Andy and I met. I've been doing this for about 5 years, kind of in my own world with my own model. And I stumbled across Andy and saw that he had a different way of doing things. I was already good at finding good deals and pretty good at finding points deals, but I wasn't really good at points deals. Andy only flew for free. And, I started following him and I jumped in and I just hired him to up my game. Andy, I get, if I recall, one of your more enthusiastic subscribers.
Yeah,
I was like
for sure.
all in right away. Like, nope, this will fit. This will work.
Yeah. Can we do first class next week?
Not quite that unrealistic, but pretty close. I think we probably had like six weeks lead time, and I had the points already. Fast forward, like that was a great relationship. Within 2 months, we were on a $50,000 vacation, like a legit $8,000 flight out, $12,000 private suite, $6,000 return flight, all in first class, all lie flat or private suite, all top-notch hotels, from just learning the rules. And a year later, like that was a great relationship. And then a year later, I decided to change the model to Jagoot Lounge, as you guys know that history. And Andy was the first person I called, and Andy jumped right in. He's like, oh, yeah, sure. Andy and several of our experts are so passionate about this that they, just jumped in and said, yeah, whatever you need, I'll help however I can. Literally, like willing to just volunteer because, like, we're kind of doing a cool thing that's a little bit different than, just your travel blogs or whatever. And then Hyatt Globalist kind of just happened like a month into the program, and it exploded. So here we are, like that program, like it turns out you had to act fast. That opportunity closed, I think, mid-February. So we jumped in, we did training, and a good dozen members went and got globalist status. And now today we're going to kind of share, like instead of showing, like last time we showed all of the cool places that Andy's been because of being a globalist, we got none of that this time. This is all stuff that our members have done from following that advice.
That's awesome.
This is so cool, including there. I mean, right there on the home screen, you can see Brooke from going to a Grand Hyatt in Vail after achieving globalist status, after finding out that one of our members was going to be in Vail and Beaver Creek. And we all just went in and got great upgrades because of putting into action what Andy shared with us back in February. So Andy, thank you. Thanks for being with us all along this ride. And we're excited for what's to come too.
Yeah, 100%.
So Hyatt Globalist, I see that we've got nearly 20 people watching. So I think we can kind of, get rolling on this. See lots of legacy members. Amy, an early member. Stanimiro, one of our very earliest members and most active travelers. Welcome, Barbara. Slobodanka, good to see you. I think you're at like 100% since you joined. Good to see you. Hey, Gil, another very regular attendee, another very successful globalist and first class traveler, etc. So good to see you all. Eric, good to see you. Hi, Nancy. Let's get rolling.
Let's do it.
And Andy, you're seeing the screen but not the comments, correct?
I see the comments.
Okay, good. Very good.
I can't touch them or anything, but I see them.
Very good. So, like I said, no pictures of Andy's trips because we've got all sorts of success stories with various members who have stayed at all these different places. Eric, that's a handwritten note from the manager at Hyatt. Eric Martin went and had a get together with lots of Nashville members on their trip. Several members have stayed at the Aliyah in Napa. I believe this is one of the places John stayed, one of the multiple globalist places John stayed. Manhattan, pretty sure that's Santa Mira. The Ziva, a lot of our members have stayed there. Zilara, a lot of our members, including myself, have stayed there. I'm not sure if this photo is mine or Mira's. We both had very similar sunsets. Our rooms were directly adjacent to each other. Different weeks, but we had the exact same swim out suites. Los Altos, possibly the best experience I've had as a globalist, if not ever, at a hotel. Unbelievable. Won't go into that. We've got a whole video on that. You can search for, probably search for Los Altos or Costa Rica and find that video where I kind of walk you through this insane place. We had our own private elevator to our room, to our 3-bedroom suite. And this was just the living area. And then this out here was adjacent to National Forest. So it was like, we'd get up. My teenage daughter and her friend, which I was able to take because of the Jagged Way of Travel, got up at 5 every morning just to like sit and watch the macaws and the monkeys and the sloths and the wildlife right outside our balcony. So what's Hyatt Globalist? Andy, so I don't hijack this whole conversation, you want to just kind of give a top view, knowing that we've got a lot of slides and examples to go, but.
Yep. So Hyatt Globalist is the highest public tier, I should say, highest tier of Hyatt status that you can get, meaning you're treated like royalty essentially. And Hyatt is known for being very generous, for being very caring of their globalists in comparison to Marriott or Hilton or whoever, IHG, right? Historically, Hyatt Globalist was also one of the hardest statuses to hit. One, you needed 60 whole nights, and two, they have a smaller footprint, a drastically smaller footprint than Marriott or Hilton. So it was like you have to stay just as many nights as like almost top tier Marriott, but you have a lot less hotels to do it in, right? So anyway, it was historically pretty hard to hit. You can't buy your way in. The credit card wasn't super generous as far as getting you to that place without a ton of spend. So hard stuff generally is very rewarding, right? So this year we had a couple of cool opportunities. We're in one right now to get it done a little bit easier and get a taste so that in the future, obviously you keep coming back and keep doing it, right? So anyway, an amazing elite status, and we're going to go through it in the slides, but my favorite and lots of people's favorite program to be a part of, basically.
Yeah. And by the way, so please feel free to please save your questions for the end. I won't be able to come back and get to them because I'm sure there will be a lot of comments. Brooke has done an amazing job collecting all the questions and comments that have come in throughout the week, and we're going to address those at the end. And if we don't hit those, feel free to chime in with your questions. But on that note, I'll share one. Someone just booked their 30 night, and this is a little foreshadowing into what we're going to talk about. There are 2 ways to do this. Well, about 4 ways to do this. But one way is through hitting 20 nights. Another is through hitting 30. You can kind of pick the best of both worlds to ensure that you hit it with the most ease. Yeah, congratulations on hitting 30th night. You should be getting a globalist notice soon if you didn't already. Let's see. So, what are some of the perks that globalist gets you? First and foremost is upgrades. I mean, that's what we're all after. We all want those crazy luxury suites that most of us would never pay our real hard-earned dollars for, right? I mean, that's...
Yeah. I mean, very, very rarely.
Yeah. Because, we're talking $600, $800, $1,000, $1,200 a night places.
Yeah.
And those are possible once you achieve globalist. A couple nuances to that. We'll talk about that a little later. Free breakfast. We went to the Hyatt Grand in San Diego last week, and buffet breakfast for two was $87
per
comped.
day.
Totally comped. So, I mean, just from 3 nights at that place, that's $270 in value just in free breakfast. Yeah. And we got a lot more than that. Resort fees waived. Those typically can be pretty expensive at pricey resorts. Those can be worth $25 to $50 a night. Award nights, those just kind of happen at certain stages. I think Mira's at like her 4th or 5th free award night just for various benchmarks she's passed. I just ended up redeeming one last weekend because I had one that was going to expire. So I just asked them, oh, hey, can we use one of these instead of points? Upgrade certificates. If you watch our earlier video, Andy kind of shows us how he's never needed that. But once you hit certain tiers, you get those, and they're a good backup plan if you don't get what you ask for. And again, we'll touch on that a little later. And then club level access, also a little bit of a redundant benefit because you get club level certificates, but all globalists get access to that anyway. So a little bit of a redundant reward. But again, all 6 of those are various things that you get as a result of achieving that globalist status. And Eric Martin, thank you for pointing that out. Free parking and valet as well. So 7 perks.
Yeah, the free parking, to clarify, is on award nights only. But I can't remember the last time as a globalist that I was charged parking on a cash day. So your mileage may vary, but officially award stays only, but they're pretty generous.
Yeah, very good point. We're going to talk about the pros and cons of points on that too. And that might have changed lately. Mm-hmm. Depending on how you're going to go on your mattress run, just because of prices versus points these days versus 5 months ago when we did this the first time. Thanks for pointing that out, Eric. So how do we get globalist status? The reason for this, and the reason that this has to be done now, even for our new members who, normally we kind of say, go through the curriculum one step at a time. You'll slowly absorb this. You'll slowly get more comfortable. Hyatt status is probably worth pursuing now and jumping ahead to this advanced topic because there is a deadline on when you have to get this done. So there are 4 different ways you can do this. You can do it just through raw nights. And as Andy explained, it used to be 60 nights. It's now possible to be done for 20 or 30. We'll kind of talk about the nuances and the differences, which actually aren't that different, a little later. You can also do it through credit card. Andy, I think this is the biggest thing that's changed since our February topic. Mostly, in my opinion, because that floor of prices for Hyatt houses and Hyatt places is a lot higher. It's kind of hard to find things under $120, $150, and a lot of those are only 5,000 points. Any thoughts on that? It's kind of just, I don't know if it's on this slide, if we're going to talk about it later, but we can just kind of address it. But it all depends on your area, right? Like if near you can find something that's under 100, I'd probably just pay cash, at least for like half of them, for example, or something, right? At the end of the day, I mean, y'all just heard Joel get $250 of free breakfast only value in like a few nights. So if it costs you 600 or 700 or 800 for the half of the nights, then that's okay, right? You're going to get it back at the very least, not to mention the suites, which we won't even quantify because they're basically priceless, right? So yeah, it's going to be very dependent. I've seen around me, I'm in Houston, I had checked. I mean, you can still get it done for like $70-$80 a night pre-negotiation, right? So that keyword
tells me,
there.
Yeah, so that tells me there's probably like a $50 or $60 opportunity. So if I was starting from 0, I would just pay cash, right? So yeah, it's going to be like very dependent, and that's a really good use for the group, I think, right? For people to be like, hey, this is my situation. I have X points, I have X dollars, or I have $0. I want to spend absolutely nothing, but I still want to get this done. or I don't care about the money. I just want to get it done as the best way. Okay, well, those are all very different situations. So very, very good use of the group there for us to kind of like publicly hash out different scenarios of different people, you know?
Yeah. And that's what the discussion will be for. Like and I apologize. I got us a little ahead of topic. We'll get into this later. No, that's my fault. I mean, bottom line, the JGOOT curriculum still stands. Never, ever, ever waste points for less than a penny a piece. Ideally, a penny and a half, if not 2 cents. I don't like wasting Hyatt points for less than 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean,
because it's possible to get 5 or 7 or even better. So we'll come back to that. You can also use points to do that, and then there's also like a third alternative to kind of double dip and use American Airlines points. So if you're pursuing American Airlines status, which is a topic we've done, you can Google that, or you can search for that in our group by just searching for American Airlines and look for the video where we cover that. So there's the 4 different ways that we're going to cover. So the first and most obvious is just straight up nights. And this current promotion, you can stay a minimum of 20 nights. That's Brooke with her boys up at the Hyatt Beaver Creek. I believe they had already achieved Hyatt or Globalist status at that one, but I know they also did office for a day down here in Denver, and went and hung out at the pool, even though they didn't stay there a single night. So stay a minimum of 20 nights. We're going to get into the nuances of that, but the bottom line, everything that we've seen, you do have to check in, physically check in at a location. Back in February, several of us tried to like find a manager who would cooperate and let you check in remotely. No one would do it. So don't even try. Yeah. Just find something that's close, or find something that would be a fun getaway. And just go stay at a cheap place. Even if you just check into the cheapest place possible and go stay wherever you want to stay elsewhere, that'll earn you nights. So you don't have to physically stay at the place, but you do have to physically check in.
Yep.
Back when we did it last time, I think 13 was the minimum required. I literally went to the place. I checked in for 13 nights. I walked away. And that was it. And next thing I know, I was Globalist. So
something else to note, I'm pretty sure, Joel, correct me if I'm wrong, this has to be 20 nights between now or between registration and the end of the year. Is that right?
Correct.
So you can't have 15 nights and stay 5 more nights before the end of the year. So we'll clarify that when we get to the 30-night option, I guess. But yeah, this is more for people who are starting at 0. I think it's 20 is going to be the number.
Right. There are rumors of, getting them to credit past nights for this 20-night promo, but I would not hold my breath on it.
Yeah. We just don't know firsthand, I guess,
But that's also where the 30-night thing kicks in, and they start to actually become the same. And we'll break that down for you in a little while. Let's see. So, how to get Hyatt Globalist for 20 nights. Sorry, again, I got ahead of myself, but here's the step-by-step. So first of all, you must create a World of Hyatt account first. Don't proceed to step 2 until you have a World of Hyatt account. So go to Hyatt.com, register, write down your number, and then proceed to step 2. This is a very word of mouth, unofficial thing. You won't find websites. You won't find it on their website at all. There are very few blogs that have written about this. In fact, I tried to get a personal on-site manager in San Diego since it was a full-service hotel. Couldn't get any help. Everyone said, "Oh, I don't know. You have to call World of Hyatt." So we have several members that have gotten this done. Call that number and say you heard about the Hyatt promo, the 20-night promo, and ask to be added to that. Have that conversation until you talk to someone who does. It might take 1 or 2 calls. So if you don't get the answer that you're looking for, introduce a phrase Andy introduced to us to is hookah. Hang up and call again. Yeah. It's a big organization, thousands of customer service reps. Just hang up and call again until you get it. I think one of our members reported that she had to call twice or 2 additional times before she got authorized.
Here's a comment. I did hookah and got signed up for it.
There you go.
Yeah.
So this is the phone number that we've had the most success with. I myself tried and failed, but we had other people that were trying as well. So, and then make sure to book those 20 nights by the end of 2021. And that means you must be checked out. If like someone else was asking, oh, we've already got a trip booked from December 26th to January 3rd, check out. I wouldn't even do it the 31st. I would check out on the 30th to be safe.
Yeah, me too.
And then recheck in on, for the 2022 calendar year. Because if you did, you could stay a month. If you check out on January 1st, those nights won't count until 2022. So very important footnote on that. Okay, so how do we do this? You can first of all, you can do it the cash route. So just search for your nearest Hyatt hotel. And you can, so in my experience, going to Hyatt.com, that's a great way to look for points. But the cash price is a little difficult to cover a lot of ground. In my experience, when I'm looking for the best cash price, I go to hotels.google.com. They have a filter feature where you just search for Hyatt properties.
Yep.
Drop the price down to, and Andy, by the way, your starting point is Google for almost everything, right?
Yep. Flights and hotels. For cash. Even not for cash, really, just to kind of see what I'm dealing with, Right.
And we'll share these slides as well. If you want to go the points route, which is we'll cover in a different slide, you can go to the Hyatt site and either just go there or you'll have access to this link when we share the slides. So that, oops, what happened to my full screen? I was full screen before, wasn't I?
I think so. Not a huge difference, I don't think.
Close. Let's see. So, okay. I don't know how to get back to full screen.
I don't either, but it's fine. We get the idea.
Yeah. Another cash tip. This doesn't work for points, but for cash, the thank you code when you register. Again, you have to register through Hyatt. You have to do the cash price. You can do the thank you code. I forget how much it knocks off the price, but it's something like 30 or 40%. It's pretty significant. That is for friends and family. I thought I turned these off. Sorry. That is for friends and family. And Mira has shared that code and considers herself a friend to all of us, or we all consider her a friend to us. So there are a couple other members in the group that have shared that code as well. Your mileage will vary, but rumor is that even though you get that discount, it still counts towards a qualifying night. And if it doesn't, that's worth a call to World of Hyatt and get that reconsidered. Office for a day rate, another way to get a bargain price, also a very negotiable price. So if you find a Hyatt and you're just going to do a mattress run, we'll talk about that later. That's something to call the local manager and say, hey, I'm thinking of doing a mattress run. Can you give me an extended rate on office for a day? And if that's not a good price, see what they'll do for an extended rate on a room. Theoretically, it's the same thing, but they're different category. And then the best way for all of this is, especially if you're going to go the mattress run route and not do this like 3 to 5 day vacations at a time, call and speak to a manager in person. Because, hey, they're given bonus and incentives for filling those rooms. And if they can get you and maybe a friend or two to check in for 15 to 20 nights, that looks good for them. So they'll do what they can to get those 15 or 20 nights. I was able to get, I believe it was a $70-something room. I think 74. And I got it for 55 all in. And I just checked in, gladly paid $55 a night. Didn't waste any points whatsoever. Why waste points? Because it would have, and that was an 8,000 point a night place. Complete waste of points. I'd be getting like 0.8 cents. Not really worth that. So, if you're going to pay cash, know that those prices are negotiable for extended stays. Use that word, extended stay, and see what kind of price they'll give you. And in that case, it's okay to use the word mattress run. Don't use that for the 20-night promo. That, you just want to do this when you're negotiating your actual stay at the hotel. Any other thoughts?
I don't know if I'd even say mattress run. I'd just be like, hey, I'm just trying to hit some nights, like try to be more casual about it, probably.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. So there we go. The alternate way is to do it with points. Now, this is, as I mentioned before, this has probably changed a little bit more because cash prices are more expensive, but you can still find good cash prices. Bottom line, remember the penny per point rule. Never, ever, ever waste points for less than a penny a piece. And again, with Hyatt, preferably hoard those points for anything and hold out for anything more than 2 cents a piece. If that sounds like an impossible task, just keep watching the curriculum. You'll get there, and ask questions as you go. This also was, that's me and Michelle, and all of us, John and Rachel, came to Vail, and Daryl and Brooke went and joined. So we all kind of got together for dinner and hung out in our fancy rooms in the Hyatt Grand in Vail. So how to get the nights, the points route. Rooms start at 5,000 points a night. Note that up until September 15th, you actually get a 25% rebate on those points. So if you book through September 15th, it's actually only 3,700 points. So instead of 12, like if you do the credit card sign-up bonus, instead of 12 nights, it's probably like 14 or 15. So just something to keep in mind if you're going to go the credit card sign-up bonus route. You can also transfer your Chase points. Now, this is something you should really think twice about. Like, remember, Hyatt points are the most valuable hotel points in the hotel category of points. Wouldn't you say, Andy?
Yeah.
Like, by far.
Yeah. And
that was one of the things Andy taught me, because I was saying, no, I'll never redeem for points. And Andy said, well, there's one exception.
Yeah.
And that was back in 2019. Changed my game. Just knowing that one thing. So Hyatt is the exception, but Chase is way more valuable. So really think twice about transferring Chase points into the Hyatt program, because if you're not sitting on a ton of points, those could be used for much more valuable redemptions than 2 to 5 cents.
Yeah. Like they're, while while Hyatt is the most valuable hotel, it's not the most valuable program, period, of all of the ones you could use Chase for. So
right.
That's what you're saying, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in the case of Ultimate Rewards, Chase's program, or membership rewards, those points are most valuable towards first class flights. And that's where you can get anywhere from, 3 to 25 cents per point. Yeah. So those are, I would think twice about transferring points just so you can say you got a free room. Just pay the $80 or $100 and earn your status. And there's Mia with her first Hyatt Globalist as a 60-night Globalist, versus a 30-night Globalist. Minor difference, but those are things that you can push for, and it's a lot more fun to push for those once you hit that minimum 30-night status. Make sure I didn't skip. So here's an example of a pretty good use of points. Hyatt points. Might think twice about Chase points, but Brooke stayed at a place in Moab. The cash price was $223. The points price was $8,000. So that's nearly 4 cents a point. Pretty good redemption. Yeah. I think I'd probably use points at that. Might even use chase points if I have enough. But if I'm saving for a big trip, I probably wouldn't. Any insights on the math on that?
No, that's good. It's closer to 3, but I did the same
Oh,
thing.
yeah. 8 times. Yeah, sorry.
I did the same thing at a Hyatt place for my mom a few weeks ago. She was like, hey, it's like 200 some bucks. And I was like, don't worry about it. I'll handle it. I'm swimming in them. So anyway, I booked her a few nights. It was I would say it was like around that. It was a 5K, maybe Hyatt place. Maybe it was 8. Either way, it was like around there. And I just did Ziva Cancun, and it was $1,200 a night, 25K points a night. So
no brainer,
5 cents all day, not even counting the turquoise upgrade that I got for close to free. But anyway, different story. But yeah, so they can be pretty valuable is the point.
Yeah. So yeah, long story short, aim for a minimum of 2 cents if you're going to redeem those points. Otherwise, it's going to be worth your while to hold out. You got a full year and a half to use this perk. Hold out for, when you'll get more value out of those points. So here's Joe Michaels, also one of our very experienced globalist travelers. 2 very different strategies on Hyatt Globalist. So anytime Andy or Joe chime in on globalist status stuff, worth sitting up and paying attention to the strategies they use.
Yeah, I've learned a lot from Joe just watching. I don't think we've ever talked, but I've just like seen the stuff he posted. I'm like, hey, it's a good idea.
I mean, that's the coolest thing that I didn't even anticipate. Like I kind of gathered 6 or 7 of you guys saying, hey, like you guys have a similar vision, like let's collaborate. And I think every one of us has taken notes from other experts in the group.
For sure.
So super cool. Yeah, so he's been a Hyatt Globalist for decades, and also very helpful with specific questions. We do ask that you tag members in the group. So if you have questions, try to search for a topic, look for a video, look for a current discussion going on. If you don't see what you're looking for, please post a new question and tag someone publicly. This helps the whole group. That way we have public conversations. So if you're debating whether you should pay cash or use points, look it up. If you don't find an answer you're looking for, publicly tag someone and ask them. A lot of our experts get very overwhelmed with private messages. And A, that's very time consuming for them. But B, if we all have these public conversations, which are still private, they're inside of our private group, everyone benefits from those conversations. So if you have questions, please feel free to tag Andy, Joe, Thomas, Kira, me, Brooke, etc. But do it publicly in the group, not as private messages. You'll get a lot faster answers that way too. Plus you'll get lots of answers from different people. So how do you get the points? The credit card route. So World of Hyatt, they have they've got a program, 60,000 points. As you know, we're not big fans of chasing every sign-up bonus under the sun, but if you're going to pursue Globalist and with current prices the way they are, my tune has changed a little bit from my tune in February. I'm actually considering signing up for the card myself. Still haven't. I have a couple others that I'd probably rather get first if I do those. But it is one worth considering. It still is a chase card. The question is, do you want it to take up one of those valuable 524 slots? Yeah. So 60,000 points, decent amount of points, more valuable because it's Hyatt, still not the most valuable that you could get. But if you want to do it, great. Check your credit score. Make sure you've hit that magic number. We have different opinions on what's the safe number. Some of us in the group think around 650. Others like to be safer and be closer to 690, 670, or 700. But make sure that you've got at least that good of a credit score. If so, you should be good. We'd love if you can use jgoot.com/cards. That gives referral points to our expert members, many of whom are volunteer experts. They're just sharing because they're passionate about sharing this knowledge with other people, with whoever will listen. Because most of us only like 5% of our friends actually pay attention to anything we say. Andy, would you say that's the case too?
For sure.
We all would love for our
I've
friends to do this. None of our friends do it.
I've been pretty successful this year. Apparently everyone's like now crazy about it, so.
Right. Well, I mean, and the more you collect your scrapbook on Facebook, the more people are like, huh, maybe I should pay attention.
Yep.
But most of us are sharing because it's like, dude, I want to share this with someone. And this is a place where people will listen and can benefit from it. So this is one way we benefit our experts by giving those referral points to them. So please go to jgoot.com/cards. And then, of course, unless you have a spouse that has a card, then give them the referral points. I mean, don't give points away. And then follow the instructions. And after approval, if you want to hurry up and get spending on that card, call them, ask them to overnight the card. Chase does that. Amex doesn't. Unless you've heard differently, but that's been my experience.
In my experience, Amex sends them extremely fast anyway, so I've never asked them.
Okay.
Chase, you have to say something though.
Yeah, Chase, it takes like the default is 5 to 7 days.
Yeah.
Whereas Amex, yeah, you're right. It does come a lot sooner. And then start using that thing. Make sure to hit that minimum spend. Quick tip: we cover this in other topics, but just quick important note: never ever sign up for a card unless you know you can hit that minimum spend. Because once you sign up for it, it's yours. If you don't hit the minimum spend, that sign up bonus is gone. You don't get to try again for at least a couple more years, if not 4 years.
Yes, and also be very cognizant of your 524 status. If you're new and watching this, we kind of skip that. So just search in the group and make sure you understand what 524 is before you go, yeah, I'm going to go get the Hyatt credit card. I would say that's pretty important.
Yeah. Way too complex topic to get into now, but search 524 in this group. We have a lot of discussions on it. You can search it in Google too, but prepare for a lot of overwhelm, a lot of unnecessary overwhelm. I feel like we do a pretty good job of trying to keep it down to as simple a topic as we can. Bottom line, choose your first 3 to 5 cards very carefully, and most likely make sure they're Chase. There are a couple exceptions to that rule. We talk about that in other videos. Let's see. So what does the card get you? It gets you a welcome bonus of 5 qualifying nights towards status. Quick asterisk here. That is towards 30-night status. These nights do not count towards the 20-night promo. You have to do those the old-fashioned way. No bonus points. You can do it with points. You can't use the 5 nights that they count towards the regular 30-night promo. We'll talk about the math of that later. Another perk: you get 9x points on all Hyatt stays. Since I'm a globalist now, that's probably one of the reasons that I may consider using a 524 slot for myself, because of that 9x multiplier. Probably would only use it for Hyatt stays for that reason, but that would tip the scales in Hyatt's favor for doing that. And then additional nights. So this is another thing where you can game the system with these additional nights with the 30-night promo. You cannot game the system for the 20-night promo. So basically, like if you can spend 10 grand on the Hyatt card before the end of the year, I'd say before the end of November to be safe. The 30-night promo is pretty much the same deal as the 20-night promo.
Yeah.
If you get the card, we'll go through that math later. So that's the credit card route. So that's option number 3. Option 4, this is a more complicated one, but this is through American Airlines. So we have a prior video on how to kind of shortcut status with American Airlines. Some of our members are doing it, some aren't. We talk about why you may or may not want to consider that in the American Airline video. We won't spend a lot of time on that, but it's another way of accruing the points necessary to achieve globalist. So you can kind of
and status on both sides,
right? So yeah, status with American and status with Hyatt. So it's a little bit of a kill 2 birds with 1 stone angle. probably the least effective and the most trouble if you weren't planning on pursuing American Airlines status anyway, but it is an option. And I would say just go and watch the American Airlines status video that you can search for in the private group. And Ashley is, I think, still in Charleston right now on like her 3rd or 4th JGOOT trip, also enjoying the perks of Globalist. This was at Hotel Ziva, or the Ziva Resort in Cancun. They're in a very luxurious place in Charleston right now. So again,
is still the American Airlines stuff.
Yeah. So always make sure you have your World of Hyatt account. Then follow the tips in the American Airlines video. We won't spend any more time on that here. That's basically how you do it. And here's just another shot of yet another lounge member enjoying the perks of being a globalist. Stephanie, a JGOOT Lounge expert, a former avid traveler, but a budget traveler, and now is traveling like a baller, mostly because of globalist status.
We converted her, yes.
Yeah. Globalist status, and I think she's kind of upped her game on points a little more too, because she was mostly like a Southwest Companion Pass expert, and now she's kind of rounded out her skill set. So after getting the American Airlines status, you can start earning points with both accounts, double dip, a great way if you're pursuing American Airlines. Now, here's where the difference between the 30 nights and the 20 nights comes in. So if all else fails, if for some reason you can't make enough phone calls and get the 20-night exception, if you go the credit card route, if you get a Hyatt credit card, not a Chase card, a Hyatt card, it's pretty much the same thing if you spend 10 grand on that card before, I would say, end of November.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that spend hits, that those points hit, that all of that happens before the end of the year. So basically, you get 5 nights, you get 2 nights per 5K spent. So if you spend 10 grand, that's 9 nights, you're at 21. So it's almost identical to the 20-night offer. And you don't have to go to the trouble of calling a sales rep. The other benefit of that is all the nights that assuming you were registered with World of Hyatt, all the nights that you stayed since, October of last year count. So it might actually be easier.
Exactly. So that's what I was saying. If you're 0, then the 20. But if you're anything, I don't know, 5 plus, 10 plus, it really depends on how much you can spend on the card, I guess. But you might just want to go for the full 30, and it may be even more advantageous to you if you already have some nights this year.
Yeah.
Right?
The beauty is you don't have to pick or choose. Call and try to get the 20-night promo.
Yeah.
If that gets you there first, great. If it doesn't get there, know that the 30-night is probably close behind. Even if you only spend 5K on the card. That's still only 23 nights.
Exactly. You just got 7 nights for, a normal amount of spend for a credit card, I would say,
Right. Ahead of myself. So, so basically get the 5 nights, the 2 nights, and spend as much as you can on the Hyatt credit card, because those are just free nights on top of the points that you get. So, and again, I got ahead of myself. The important thing is you can't count those. So if it's either the 20 or the 30, but the good news is it's the best of both worlds. So I think we've belabored that point enough. You get the idea. If you spend 25K, you only need 15 nights. So there you go. Actually, I think that math is wrong. I did that, and I think that might mean...
Here, let's see. 25K means 10 nights plus the 5 on the card. 15 and 15, yeah.
Okay, so it is 15. I did it right.
Yeah.
Fun note about an 8th benefit. We talked about 6, and Eric pointed out a 7th of free valet. We stayed at the Hyatt Grand, probably the lowest value upgrade we got, but I accept the blame for that. I was doing an experiment where I just added in a comment with just a little pretty please in the comments. Oh, it's our anniversary, and can we get a Bayview room? That's all I asked for. That's all I got. I got a high floor. Bayview room, great view. Nice, 12-foot ceilings. But that's all I got. Andy kind of, he has taught us that you have to ask for more. You have to know what you're asking for and always ask for more. Otherwise, you'll just get the minimum upgrade required. In fact, Michelle, like this Hyatt didn't have a concierge, so we had to do everything through the Globalist desk. And there was always a line because they're overbooked, which also might be why we didn't get a big upgrade. But the people in front of us were discoverists. They asked for a corner room and they got a corner room. So, they didn't over ask. That's not a huge ask. It's not the presidential suite, but they asked for more than they were entitled to and they got it. We didn't, and we got exactly what we asked for. So, pro tip, do your homework, know what is available literally just before you check in. Check on the app, what's available, ask for it. And the worst they can do is say no. You'll still most likely get the minimum upgrade required, which is pretty nice.
Usually I do that. I'll look at the app. I'll look at a normal cash booking and see, okay, there's a, I don't know, whatever, 1-bedroom, whatever they call it, suite available. I'll even usually go one step further because another pro tip, the rooms that are very, very nice are often never sold online. Like they reserve them for very special occasions, very special people, very high night level globalists like me. So sorry guys, I'm taking your rooms. Anyway, so they're not always available online. So usually what I do is I see what's available, the highest awesome thing available on cash, and I'm like, okay, that's what I'm going to go for. But then I go into the hotel details on the app or online, and you can browse every suite that they have on property, regardless if it's for sale or not, right? And so normally you'll find 2 suites usually above the highest sold cash one, like online availability. Normally that's something and then a presidential or something around there. So usually I'll then go for it and I'll ask for them in descending order. Presidential? Oh, sorry, someone's in it. Okay. What about XYZ? Oh, actually, we do have it. You don't know how many times I've gotten way more than I was entitled to just by kind of knowing. And even though it wasn't visible online, because I just know that they don't sell them. You just can't book it. You have to ask, So just know that if you're really going to get into it and try to extract as much as you can, which I do every single time I go to a Hyatt, that's my process, right? You can't always expect the presidential. In fact, almost never. I've gotten it 3 times out of 20 times that I've asked. But hey,
can't get what you don't ask for.
Yeah. And either way, I always ended up with more than I probably should have gotten anyway, because I started so crazy. And then I'm like, oh, you know what? Fine. I'll settle for this $1,000 night room. Since, you forced me. So
you'll rough it.
Yeah, we'll rough it. So that's the process for sure. And for those of you with very, very special occasions, anniversary, birthday, whatever, don't hesitate to reach out to call and ask for the email of the GM, right? Or if you have a concierge, which obviously is in another globalist video somewhere probably, but you don't hesitate to reach out to the GM. Just email them, hey, my name's so-and-so. I'm a globalist. My number is XYZ. I have some nights booked on this date. I have an anniversary or a birthday coming up. Is there anything you can do? I mean, we'd really appreciate blah, 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 be very nice. And that is a very probably high odds route to getting something very nice. And last resort, we talked about earlier, some award certificates, like suite upgrades and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are basically certificates that allow you to guarantee a suite way in advance. You have to call Hyatt to get them applied or send them a message or whatever your process is. But situations like special occasions are really good uses for those certificates where you don't want to risk not getting a suite on your birthday or I've only ever used one in my whole life as a globalist, and it was on my birthday at Park Hyatt Beaver Creek, where it was middle of ski season. I was like, there's no way I'm going to risk this, So I just called and said, give me a normal suite, which was still $1,500 a night or whatever. And when I show up, I'll try to get something better. I wasn't able to get anything better because there was nothing. So I'm thankful that I had used my certificate that time. Yeah. So there are use cases for stuff like that. So I know that was a lot of info, but that's just kind of like my thoughts on the whole thing.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, so for those of you new to this, remember the goal is to just get you to Globalist and worry about all that other stuff later.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning it. I mean, I almost lost a free room because I wasn't even aware I had them. I logged in and I had like 4 free rooms waiting for me. And I used points for our latest stay. You know, and fortunately, I stumbled across that and I called and said, hey, can I use this free room certificate instead of points? And they straightened it right out. So don't worry about that now. The goal is let's just get you to Globalist in the best way, most economical way possible for you. And then you'll learn these things as you go. So, as you learn, as you kind of hit Globalist, as you hit 40 nights, 50 nights, there are all sorts of new little bonuses. Figure those out as you get them. Let's see. Oh, and bonus number 8, even though we didn't get like a huge upgrade, we got the, $270 worth of free food in buffet breakfasts. We got free bike rentals each day. We got free harbor tours each day. We got free kayak rentals each day, just as exclusively a Globalist perk. And that right there was the Hyatt, those twin towers. We went to the 40th floor there and they had fireworks. We had to look down to see the fireworks. That's pretty cool. So yeah, Globalist definitely has its perks and is well worth, the 22 night minimum that you got to do to get there. So before we get to your questions, I know we've seen some in here, but Brooke has done an amazing job of collecting all the ones that came in throughout the week. So we're going to answer those. And if we didn't hit on those, please feel free to repost your question and we'll come back to those. We'll probably go over on time today, but this is a very important topic. So, if you run out of time, you can come back and watch the replay. So let's get to some questions. I think some of these we've covered, but we'll just reiterate it. Like, can I find this deal online? No, you can't. You have to call that number and ask for it. If you don't get it, hang up, call again. What number do I call? Here's the number again. Write this number down. This is the only number that we've had that has had success. Just calling the generic World of Hyatt doesn't always work. Calling a general manager at a hotel doesn't always work. This number does work. I don't even know what it is, but Brooke gathered it from the discussion groups from one of our amazing members who shared it. So thank you, a collective thank you to our group for this team effort. Called several Hyatts. No one knows anything about it. This phone number is the one that many of us had that experience. This phone number is the one that someone figured out does work. So go ahead and call that number. If you don't get the answer you're looking for, hang up, call again. Do you have to physically check into the room on a mattress run? Our experience says yes. There is rumor out there that says you don't have to. When a dozen plus of us tried this back in February, March, none of us found a manager that was willing to allow us to do that. So I would say don't even waste the effort. Find either a place in your area that's most affordable, or a place that you're going anyway for a vacation, and physically check in. And if you're doing a mattress run, check in and walk away. Probably good to swipe the key and go in the room, mess up the bed a little, but that's really all you need. You don't have to physically stay there.
Yeah, it might help to even like on your way out, be like, hey, I actually have to run for a few nights, but I'm going to leave the room because I'm going to come back and blah, 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 blah. Right. Don't, no worries if you don't see me walking in the front door a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, in my experience, I was just flat out honest with the manager and said, I'm doing a mattress run. And in fact, if you can give me a great rate, I'll promise not to even use it. Like if you think you might sell out. And that, that kind of establishes a win-win collaborative effort. Your mileage may vary. Like some of us would say, I wouldn't mention the word mattress run. I was, straightforward because I figured if that saves me a few bucks, great, I'll do that. And it worked for me. But, choose a strategy that works, that you're most comfortable with.
Something else important here that's kind of hiding. What we were talking about applies to normal Hyatts, even though Hyatt has the partnership with MGM in Vegas. typically security or housekeeping has to enter your room. We were talking about this in a post earlier in the lounge. At some point, 3 days in, 4 days in, 5 days in, regardless of if you answer or don't answer the door or whatever, or if you have a little do not disturb thing, they'll still go in. If you're not in there, there's no sign of you, they'll probably just like check you out, or at the very least call you and try to figure out what's going on. Just a security thing, I guess. So just know that you can't do that in Vegas, even though you might find a decent rate there. Almost like 99% of the time, you can find a better rate elsewhere. So if you're going to go to Vegas, just do the nights that you're going to be there. You can maybe add 1, maybe 2 to the end of it if you have a nice rate or something. But then that's it.
Yeah, and just remember, most Vegas places have an exorbitant resort fee that you have to factor in. And even though you might find $15, $20 a night place, if it's got a $40 resort fee, well, you have to factor that in. That'd still be a great price, but remember to factor in the resort fee.
Exactly.
Because you're not globalist yet, and you can't get those waived. Oh, plus in Vegas, they don't necessarily waive them. Yeah,
you can't. There's nothing you can do.
We have a different hack for Vegas because globalist isn't so special in Vegas. We have a different hack. You can watch the WYNN video where Andy also taught me a cool hack for that. Otherwise, globalist is not very special in Vegas.
No status.
Doesn't get you much
at all. I'm
everywhere
top
else
tier.
great.
I mean, probably me and Joe would probably say the same thing. We're both top tier at MGM and Caesars, and it's kind of like
they don't care.
Whatever. I mean, I get to cut the taxi line. Hey, so there's that. Sometimes that's like 30 people long.
So we can't win them all, and at least here in the lounge, we're honest about it because we got nothing else to prove. So, let's see. What other questions? I don't have any good rates near me. I know I did a post in the past, and we included that link. We'll include the link in the comments where you can just go search by points. I noticed like 30 or 40 destinations around the U.S. that were 5,000 points. Dude, if you can't find less than $100 a night, use the points.
Yeah.
And just look for a place and go spend a weekend in Salt Lake City and book the thing for 20 nights.
I will say though, like if you really can't figure it out on cash, I'm so hesitant to say like blow a ton of points. You can like use it to get a little bit of the way, but really explore the credit card route, the spend on the card route, like every other possible route really before blowing a ton of points. Even at 5K, that adds up. You're talking about 100K points to do it from scratch with 5K. That's, pretty serious. Like that's a lot of Hyatt points, So try to find a balance, I think, that limits the blowing of points, if at all possible.
And a good thing for perspective for me whenever I'm thinking about anything less than 2 cents per point, because I'm feeling cheap and I'd rather use the points than cash, is that, I try to remember like what these are possibly worth. And the possibility of getting 10 or 20 cents for points that I'm redeeming at Hyatt for a couple cents, that's a good deterrent to just be disciplined and reluctantly fork out the cash.
Not to mention, like you've said before, it's a little bit harder to get points than it is to get cash in some situations, right? Like you blow 100K points, it's not so simple to get another 100K Hyatt points. Right. It's a lot simpler to earn $1,000 between now and December to pay for a $50 a night room for 20 nights, than it is to make 100,000 Hyatt points. So it's not even about like what value you're getting per point, because that assumes unlimited amounts of points, right?
Which is not the case without exponentially more trouble. Exponentially more trouble.
You have to factor in value of points plus how many do I have and how many am I forecasted to earn, which is like some more advanced stuff. But that's kind of how I like process it. I'm like, okay, well, can I blow X amount? Like, do I have at least 4 times that or 3 times that or whatever, right?
Yep.
So anyway.
And to bring just one more point home, because this question comes up all the time. Anytime you are tempted to chase shiny objects because you see a 100 or 150,000 point bonus elsewhere that is not a Chase Ultimate Rewards card, remember that the only way to get Hyatt points is through Chase Ultimate Rewards or the Hyatt credit card, which is also a Chase card. So all of this comes back to choose your Chase cards carefully, because once you use up 524, it's going to be very difficult to go the points route with Hyatt.
Yep.
So I think we've beat that horse to death.
Probably. I think, is this the end of the slides here?
I think we've got a couple more.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Okay. Do I have to get the credit card? Absolutely not. In fact, keep studying, make sure you're comfortable with what Chase cards you want. I wouldn't get the credit card if it's at the expense of maybe the Chase trifecta, if you love the Chase program. It's a personal choice, but you do not have to get the credit card.
Yeah, I think maybe just like rewatch this video. If that still doesn't help you get all the info to factor into your own personal decision, feel free to post in the group, tag me, tag Joel, whoever, and we can all chime in on your personal scenario and at least give you our thoughts. You'll probably get different thoughts, but you can at least have all the info and decide for yourself.
That's the other thing I'm very proud of inside the lounge is you're going to get a lot more fine-tuned information. You go and ask this on a ward travel with 80,000 members, or even in Jagut Village with 18,000 members, you're going to get advice from every which direction. You have no idea who knows what they're talking about and who doesn't. Whereas in the lounge, most of the people chiming in have been around the block. So check here first and explore outside after. Someone asked, should I get the credit card? I think we've covered that. Can you think of any other clarifications to add?
No, I think it's the same thing I just said. Kind of just, you have to factor in everything.
Worth it to spend the money on a mattress run? I think we've covered that. Probably worth it. Just remember that preferably minimum 2 cents per point, because you can do so much more. Definitely don't do it if you're saving less than 2 cents a point. Definitely not. Spend the cash. Do past trips stay for the 30 night? Yes. For the 20 night, probably not. If you're really good at negotiations, you might get them to, throw a little favor your way, but no promises.
Yeah.
I booked a Hyatt through a third party. Can't do that. That's an even more difficult negotiation. You could give them your points or your Hyatt number and get some of the perks, but you're not going to get the credit for the night stay. Near impossible negotiation. Would you agree?
I can't say I've ever even tried it. I can't even think of one time ever that I've wanted to book a Hyatt not direct with Hyatt. The only exception is Preve, which is, I don't think there's a video on it. We should maybe do one, at least a very short one. Someone mentioned it in one of the comments earlier. Basically, Preve is a travel agent program. So like a travel agent books it for you. But it counts. It's the same. Like Hyatt considers it still in network.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I have no experience trying to negotiate a third party rate because I've never done it. There's probably been others in the lounge that can probably answer that better than I can, that have booked through, I don't know, Priceline or Hotwire or whatever, right?
Right.
I just have no idea. But I would say it's going to be hard if you book through like a consolidator or discount type place like that. Right. Unless you're a very 60+ night globalist, in which case I would be pretty confident in saying you could probably get them to do whatever you want. But I don't know.
Yeah, and there's always, if it's just about money, there's always price match, which I think is the next question. So, if you did find a better deal through a third party like Travelocity, can you get the same price? And the answer to that is yes. Yep. And you should call Hyatt so that you can book through Hyatt with, no questions on whether or not it's a qualifying night. It is, because you booked through Hyatt. And you can basically contact them, and you can just Google Hyatt price match and find the email address to get that matched.
Yep.
So, and that'll save you money, because if Travelocity has it for $80, they'll knock 20% off of that price, and you'll get the credits.
It still won't be as good as negotiating with the manager, so please, y'all, don't be scared to give it a shot.
Yeah, and none of these are intense negotiations. Like they're in business too, and they're compensated for filling their place. And if you can add 20 nights to their log, they're going to work with you to make it happen, especially if, there are a couple choices that you have between different hotels. Yeah, they know that.
I've even said that before. Like, hey, look, I'm looking at this property and that property and this property. I'd like to stay here. It's closer to my blah, 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 or whatever. Is there any way you can do 50 a night? If I give you the 20 today, I can book it right now. Just like that, We don't even have to play hardball or anything. They're going to say no, but maybe 70. You can just say 60, or you can say, okay, fine, 70. Like pretty straightforward. One phone call. It's not like buying a car where you have to sit there for like 20 hours.
Right. So. And aren't you sitting in a room as evidence of that? Like, I think I recognize that artwork. You're in a Hyatt right now?
No, I was not anymore. Yeah. I checked out, believe it or not. Eventually.
But yeah, Andy did that for however many hundreds of nights you stayed.
4 months. I had a room. I wasn't even staying there. I wasn't even in Houston most of that time, but I had a room the whole time. Yeah.
And you negotiated for that rate, right?
I paid $90. It was a full service Hyatt Regency. I had free breakfast, free Starbucks. They would even credit it for lunch if I didn't wake up for breakfast or whatever. And they gave me a $500 a night corner all glass suite.
Nice.
It was pretty crazy. Overall, like that was a lot of value. Not to mention that was during the double points promo, so I made like 700,000 points. Pretty easy, on a negotiated rate. So it was like crazy.
So yeah, we have beginning, intermediate, advanced, ultra advanced, and Andy level of gaming the system. Maybe we'll do a topic on that sometime. Living in a Hyatt for points.
It was literally profitable for me. I think like I go to the Maldives, I go wherever, I go to Cancun to Ziva. I'm like, I'm getting paid to live at this Hyatt or to maintain a room at this Hyatt in reality. So like I was paying, $2,700 a month. That was my negotiated rate into a travel fund, essentially, that would become worth $10K a month or $8K a month. It was like the best investment ever, and I paid no rent in my head because I was paying into a travel fund. Anyway, very advanced thought process mostly, but point is I love Hyatt, in case can't tell.
Yeah, here I am like proud of myself for going carless so that I can get points from Uber and Lyft. You're going homeless so you can get points from Hyatt. That's awesome. Okay, I think we've covered that one. I think that was mostly it. Let's see. When you do a 20-night mattress run, do they? How soon do they post?
Usually at a Hyatt, it'll post day after checkout or ish. The only exception is Vegas. That can take a week ish or something like that. And then it says, do you have to wait to complete all 20 nights, or will each milestone post as you complete it, like Explorist and all that? Since you don't get the nights credited until you check out, you won't hit anything until you check out, basically.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can always split it if you really want to. I probably wouldn't even mess with it. Just like book the 20 and when it's done.
Yeah, and John kind of this was asked in the group. John helped put it in perspective of like, if you're just going to do the run, do it and get the status so you can start enjoying it whole hog. Like, yeah, you get a little more points, you get a little more perks, like at Discoverist, at Explorist, etc. But if you're just doing a run, like the time you have to wait for those points to kick in order to get the benefits of the next tier, you're going to throw an extra week or two into how long you have to wait. Just do one run and earn it.
Not to mention, I'm pretty sure it's status on checkout that determines how many points you earn. So the points thing should be moot because you should earn what you're entitled to at that moment, which in theory would be globalist level, which is, I don't know, another 70% point or 50 or something like that.
Right.
So that is it for the frequently asked questions. In summary, you can pay cash, you can use points or a combo. I think we've probably talked a lot about that.
Yep. Yeah, so bring on the questions. I think we've covered most of the ones that came in throughout the week. Feel free if we need to chime in if we need to clarify something. Otherwise, we can wrap this up as not too much over an hour and call it good for those watching the replay. Let me just scroll back and see if I saw any unique questions.
Oh, in the comments, let's see.
Here's one worth clarifying. Slobodanka asks, getting Globalist now will last through the end of 2023. Is that confirmed? That's not quite confirmed. It's confirmed through the end of February of 2023. So not 2023, but February of 2023. How much cash are people paying for the rooms at Ziva in Cancun?
Well, the rate is on the weekends in the thousands, low thousands. During the week, I saw it like 600 to 800. So I don't know if the question is what are the rates, or if what are we all paying to stay at Ziva? I don't know. I can't speak for the other people, but I am paying $0.
So I mean, and this is a good question too. Michelle and I had this debate when we decided to pursue Globalist, because we were planning on kind of breaking in our vaccination by going to Cancun. And it's like, well, should we go earn our nights at Cancun? And then it was like, well, heck, that's like, let's not go to Cancun and have to blow. And I think at that time, rooms were like 600, or no, they started at like 400 because we stayed at the Zilara.
Oh, Zilara, yeah.
And it was like, well, why not just get Globalist first for $50 a night? And so we hurried up. We literally, like the next day, I found a place, I negotiated the rate, I checked in that day. And 13 nights later, we had our rooms under our belt. I think we had Globalist status within 15 nights. And then once I had Globalist status, I'm just like, let's go to Cancun. And we stayed at, I forget the math. I think we got upgraded to a $700 room for 5 nights for 100,000 points. So that's a very good use of points.
And then I took Joel to try some real tacos.
Yes. Yes. We just finished that bottle of Sedenta that we brought back that you introduced us to.
Oh, so good. I bought one at Ziva last weekend. So much cheaper. It's like $40 over there in the US at the hotel. And in the US, it's like 75, you know?
And that's a fun story that is, you know, what opens up in your world when you start to get savvy with redeeming points and earning points and all that. Like, I told Andy, oh yeah, we're going to Cancun. We're going to, you know, check out the Zilara. Don't think we're going to, I forget why.
I don't think it was available or something.
Yeah, it wasn't available to get in Turquoise Tower. And so we did the Zilara, and Andy, this was like, I don't know, Wednesday. And Andy's like, well, I was thinking of going, you know, either there or somewhere. I'll go to Cancun. Let's meet up.
See you there.
So the perks of being able to travel the Jegu way.
We can answer Eric's question. He asked it a couple times.
Okay.
It's going to take up like the whole screen though.
Yeah.
Hey, Eric, would it be advantageous to take advantage of Brand Explorer to help toward the 20 nights? For those of you who don't know, Brand Explorer is something in your Hyatt account that basically rewards you with a free award night for every 5 different brands you hit, right? So the answer is yes. I mean, on the way to 20, feel free to touch as many brands as you can, and like you'll get free nights here and there. But price-wise, it won't be very cost-effective, obviously, because 80% of those brands are full-service hotels that are very expensive. So that's like a preference thing. If you're going to be vacationing and like hanging out in different cities anyway, then yeah, of course, right? To accumulate the free nights, that's what I talked about. Could you pair this with accumulation of tiered status to get extra points as you go? We kind of talked about that earlier, that you're going to get whatever points at checkout. So that'll just kind of happen organically. You don't really have to like create artificial checkouts in between the tiers. So I think that answers most of that. Brand Explorer is a good one, but just know it's not cost effective, obviously. You know, for someone who's starting new, to pay 50, 60, and then like 200, 150, 250 for the nights. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all those are kind of the nickels and dimes that you pick up along the way. Now, the one thing I would say is if you're just doing a brand or just a mattress run, find the cheapest place you can find and check in and forget about it. But, you know, if you're going to do this the legitimate way, how Hyatt envisions it being done, you know, with 3 or 4 or 5 vacations, well, then sure, you know, like you can go ahead and spend a little extra to stay at the full service, knowing that, you know, and do those, you know, as you achieve each level too. Because even once you get Discoverist, you get some perks.
Yep.
So I would say, yeah, definitely not if you're doing a mattress run. But yeah, if you're doing this like legitimately with long weekend trips, sure. Like check out, look at that brand checklist and why not?
Yeah.
Because each night is, if it's a different brand and they have like 15 brands, that could be worthwhile.
I think that might be. Oh, yes. Hey, Barb. So that should be end of year. I think Mira answered it right after she posted it.
Okay. Yeah, kind of hard to tell when people answer questions that all goes as just one thread.
Yeah. So if you get the 20-night challenge or you're working toward the whole 30, it's end of year. Or at least safe bet is end of year, right?
Yep. Cool. Well, I think that was all the questions. I'll make one last final call for anyone to paste anything that was asked before and didn't get answered, or any last minute questions. Otherwise, I think we can wrap this up.
I saw one more that maybe we should answer. If you scroll up, 4:27 p.m., kind of a long one, by Facebook user.
4:20. So 3:27 my time.
4:27. Oh, yeah, sorry. And then the last one, the last one can be the one that Brooke reposted at the very end. Just and sorry guys, you can't see me talking because I was like trying to peek over so everyone could see. I'm Explorist and just got the card, which I can do the spend immediately. So with those nights, thanks. So with those nights, I'm at 15. So that I assume you mean 10K. So you're short 5 days to Globalists. So no, remember that you can't use card nights toward 20. You can only use card nights toward 30. So just FYI. Can you get an upgrade to both rooms as an Explorist? You need the upgrade, or can you do a 5-night mattress run to be sure? Well, considering that now I just told you were not 5 nights away, maybe that won't make sense anymore. So you can get upgrades as Explorist. Obviously it's just not going to be as good. I wouldn't expect a suite at all of any kind. So yeah, those are my thoughts there. If you were really 5 nights away from Globalist, I would say do a 5-night mattress run and then do the stay. But if it's the way you posted it here, then you're only 5 nights away from 20, but you used card nights, so it won't count. So you need to go all the way to 30.
Yeah, and that's probably a big, very important rule. Remember that there is there's a subtle difference between 20 and 30 nights. 20, and if you're doing the card route, they're very similar. If you're not doing the card route, they're very different. And it's, so if you're not going to get the card, you really want to hang up, call again until you get that 20-night promo.
Yeah.
If you're doing the card route, it's not too much of a difference.
Yeah,
with all the perks you get of owning the card.
Like you're just kind of doing the card at the same time as doing the Globalist, basically.
You get to
the only advantage I would say of the card route is that you get a sign-up bonus and you can use those points for a mattress run. But like we talked about, not the best use of points. So I would only recommend that route if you're very strapped for cash or you really, really tried your best and can't find a good rate, right? Those are really the only 2 use cases where I would say you would want to use sign-up bonus points to get this done. So I hope that answers that.
Cool. Yeah. And so for I was going to clarify for Fred. Yeah, that's what we just answered. So just important, subtle difference between the two, but not so subtle if you don't go the credit card route. If you don't go the credit card route, pursue that 20-night goal. If you go the credit card route, it almost doesn't matter. You'll eventually hit it. Plus or minus 20 days.
Feel free to rewatch that section because it's a little nuanced. You kind of just have to listen to it a little bit.
Brooke, thank you. I'm going to go from the bottom up now, so I'm not going to scroll down into old questions. So yeah, feel free to repost and we'll discuss those as we wrap this up.
Here, Joel, 346. She reposted Jill's question, the one we were supposed to answer.
Okay. All right.
So if you don't have the Hyatt card, which card is better to use? Probably assuming that you're paying cash is what this question is about. Amex Plaid or Chase Preferred. The Plaid won't give you anything unless there's like a category bonus right now that I don't remember on the personal Plaid for hotels. I don't think so.
Well, I think it's, well, if you direct book, you get 5x points. So you can earn more points that way, but you can't redeem points.
But on hotels?
Yeah, the new platinum, you get 5x points on booking directly with hotels. Or and
I'm
also
confirming
you get a $200 credit for booking directly with hotels. So there are perks, but they're like earning perks, not you can't redeem points.
I think that's what she's talking about anyway, though.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
No, so 5x points on prepaid hotels on Amex Travel, which is what I thought. So that's what I was saying. It's not a good idea unless they change that for COVID. But the official thing is prepaid hotels.
Okay. Well, I thought, yeah,
So
prepaid. But gotcha. Because Hyatt doesn't, through Hyatt, they don't prepay. Okay. So, yep. Thank you for clarifying that.
So,
and then
preferred.
You finish.
I was going to say between those two, then knowing what we know, preferred.
Yeah. And then on that note, just maybe rewatch the video on kind of our warning of, Hyatt points. Sure, use the points for, if you're doing a mattress run, might think twice about doing it with Chase because those can be a lot more valuable.
Yep. And then Brooke put another one, 347. Todd's question. Oh, she also just put it at the end. Not that one.
Every time one pops up.
Second to last, Todd. Third to last now.
Okay.
There.
And you lost ability to post these? We'll have to.
I'm just not logged in. I had to be logged in. Yeah.
Okay.
So I travel a lot within California. Is it worth it for me to pay more to stay in Hyatt places to get this status? 100%. I would say definitely shift your business to Hyatt to get it. And then once you have it for a year, in this case, it's a year and a half, you'll be able to make the decision if you want to continue giving them your business. And I think you will probably do that. It's pretty cool.
Well, and I mean, the beauty of that, like if you're traveling and you're paying for a hotel anyway, even if you're a Marriott loyalist and Hyatt costs $20-25 more a night, that's $250. That's $500 to get Hyatt status. Yeah. And you've got status with both, Andy. Could you put like a dollar figure per night of what it's worth to be Hyatt Globalist versus Hyatt or Marriott Titanium even?
I would say Marriott is probably like optimistically $100 a night, and I mean super optimistically, it's probably closer to like 50. I'm talking about just room upgrades, right? Because we all get the breakfast and we all get the blah blah blah, right? Mm-hmm. Breakfast, parking. So just as far as like room and treatment and stuff like that, and cold hard actual room difference values, like 50 to 100 on the Marriott site. Hyatt routinely 200 plus. I mean, all the time, like 200, 300, 400. 600. I mean, I've got like it's just Marriott. That's never happened to me. Never. I mean, I think I have like 40 nights with them this year or 30. And I mean, I got upgraded. I don't even think I did. Not even once. Like it's pretty bad.
Yeah. And before Andy taught me what he did, A, about Hyatt having more value on points, and B, the value of status. I never gave a damn about status. I'd rather just look for the best rate, and I was pretty good at that and did the best I could for the price that I paid. But yeah, I mean, my worst upgrade was worth $150 a night. And that was last week. And I got an extra 100 in like actual benefits, extra 150 in perks on top of that. So that was worth 300 a night, even in my worst upgrade. And I've had some pretty nice ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I mean, I've had Marriott Gold status, big deal. Okay. Anything else? You're better at looking at these comments and talking at the same time.
Armando at the end just said that he was a Marriott loyalist. Yeah. Hyatt brings so much more value. And we're not even talking about the value of the points that you end up earning by paying for these rooms, because Marriott points are very close to useless in reality. And Hilton, I would say, are even more powerful than Marriott points, in my opinion, or at least more valuable, not powerful in the traditional sense. But Hyatt points are like extremely valuable and powerful, right? So if you consider that aspect, then it almost makes sense to always stay at a Hyatt if humanly. The only time I do not stay in Hyatts is if there is not one, or there's only a Hyatt place or something like that. Then I'm like, I'll take my chances with a Marriott upgrade, you know? But I mean, almost every major city will have a decent Hyatt. There are some that don't, so it's possible.
Yeah. And that's become our norm.
Yeah. So maybe last question probably, but we have here at the end their healthcare worker rates.
Okay. And then here, let me just show this one so I don't lose it because it's got lost in the feed. But if you watched, the Village videos are for our free subscribers, but our San Diego one, which is in case of emergency tip. Hey, if you want to get a cheap mattress run in while actually going on vacation too, try the San Diego hack. You need 0 points. Just watch for a flight to San Diego, walk across the border, fly anywhere in Mexico and Tijuana, get yourself a cheap Hyatt there. Boom. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Hey, in Mexico, you can probably get them to check you in without being there. I'm just saying,
Probably.
100%. I didn't try that, but I'm literally 80% confident that you can get that done.
You probably get scuba certified while you're there with the same method. Yeah, sure, we'll certify you.
Yeah. What email do we send it to,
Yep.
No, I'm serious. Just tell them, hey, I mean, if you speak Spanish, it's much easier, but be like, hey, do you have PayPal or something? I'll literally send you $300 right now if you just handle this,
Right.
Or whatever. Anyway, healthcare worker rates. I think maybe she's referring to, there were a couple about, can you use the code if it's already been booked? Can you use the code period? Do the nights apply if you use the code? I think we've confirmed the nights apply if you use the code. There's probably been quite a bit of firsthand experience with that. Can you change it if it's already booked? Armando kind of answered, but the easiest way is you can call and just have them do it, but the easiest way is to just book it online with the code. If the rate is better, then you can just cancel your other one. There's maybe a delay there of points coming back, cash being refunded. So if you don't want to deal with that, or you're a little tight on points or cash where you can't have money floating in the abyss, then call Hyatt and just tell them hey, I forgot to put the code in, whatever.
Right.
Oh no, Eric says that we can't bribe in Mexico. In fact, I would be willing to take that challenge.
Be sure to wait. Yeah, you don't care about nights.
But I mean, I'll blow $100 for a 3-night stay just to see, if I can do it. 33 a night. I mean, and I'll get 3 Hyatt nights, so it's okay. Not that
right. That sounds like a fun challenge.
That is a fun challenge. Did you ask him in Spanish? Important question.
Yeah. Yeah. I subscribed to Babbel. Haven't done anything with it yet. So I'm still working with my 3 years of high school Spanish, which doesn't get me very far. Gets me farther after some margaritas, but. Okay, folks, I think that wraps us up. This is officially our longest live stream ever. Hopefully we got everyone's questions answered. Last call for any last minute questions, since we're still 3 minutes under 90 minutes.
Yeah. First come, first serve. We got 2 slots.
1-2 questions tops. Otherwise, we're signing off. This has been fun. Andy, thanks as always. Your stories are inspiration to us all. Hopefully, you guys saw how much Andy's advice has helped all of us.
I'm glad.
Yes. Yes, margaritas do get us farther with everything.
Yeah, I saw that Eric and Mia wanted to do a Learn Spanish mattress run, and I told them that if they booked me the rooms, that I would happily tutor them for free. I wasn't able to get that negotiation done, so.
I'm surprised with traveling the Jay Goot way. That's kind of a cheap deal.
Yeah.
You could throw in some point hacking advice while you're at it.
There you go. It's profitable. It's an investment. No, Brooke.
Oh, Brooke,
you can't take my clients. Get out of here. Delete comment.
All right. Well, and Jill is a recent convert. We convinced her on going Sapphire. Jill, if I remember, I think you both went Sapphire, and now you're thinking about Globalist. Keep poking through the threads. Keep looking at everyone's testimonials. We've got a ton of them in the village. And yeah, I mean, I'm saying this from someone who didn't give a damn about status ever before. And I'm already thinking about like, okay, well, yeah, I think we can, even if they raise it back to 60, once you have globalist, it's so much more motivating to hit it. And 60 nights won't be a problem.
Don't forget it's 50 to renew, as far as I know. 55.
Oh, cool. Yeah. All the better.
I've never been that tight because it's always been so worth it that I'm like, I'll do whatever. I will stay however. You tell me how many nights you want me to stay. I'll stay it. This can be the last question here. Facebook user. Hello. Yep. Can you book and have a friend check in? I've done it before. Like with my mom or whatever. It wasn't even a guest of honor. I was just like, hey, so-and-so is going to go check in. It's under their name. Just handle it, So I would say yes. So if you have like a friend in the city where you did find a good rate, I would say it's worth a shot for sure. You can just call and ask them like, hey, I'm going to book this. My friend's going to go check me in. Is that okay? Yes or no? And
I might recommend, like, I'd say, I mean, if you're going to do that for a 20-night mattress run, I'd do a test run of a couple nights first.
Yeah, definitely.
Make sure that actually gets credited, because that would suck to have to pay 20 nights and then find out, oh, no, that didn't count. We credited your friend's account, though, and you made them a globalist.
Yeah.
Just saying. And Brooke is saying that you tried and have to be present.
So no, I'm talking about in the U.S., not in Mexico. It's worth a shot. I mean, I've done it before, not for a 20 night, but for like 3 or 4 that I've booked rooms for friends and not told them they were rooms for friends. I just said, this person's going to go check in.
Right.
I don't know if that I'm already a top tier elite has anything to do with it. They're willing to kind of bend the rules, and it's very discretionary, I guess. So your mileage may vary, right? Give it a shot, a couple nights. And yeah, Armando says, add your friend to the reservation. I do this when my wife flies in before me. And Mary even said, tell them someone's getting there before you and they'll check in for you. Those are all valid ways to say the same thing. So it's kind of like play with it and see. You're almost always able to get a local rate and not have to struggle with any of this. So give it a shot, please. Don't be scared to talk to the manager of a couple properties. You can probably get it done. Yeah.
Mine was a very easy, like 5-minute conversation that I had on the way to the airport. I found out I had an appointment that I had to run, or not to the airport, to the hotel. I was going to go check in anyway. I'm like, oh, I'll just call them and get the ball rolling. And they had everything ready for me to check in. I was in and out of there in like 10 minutes.
Yep. Usually I just call the property and go, hey, can I talk to sales? And they'll take me to the highest person that can like handle sales. That might be the manager for a smaller property, or it might be an actual salesperson,
Right. Eric pointed out guest of honor. Let's save that for just that's definitely a perk, and that's after you earn globalist. So let's wrap this up with that. But very good suggestion. Another perk of becoming globalist, you get to be a hero for your friends and give them these perks.
I just did it for a friend in New York. He went to the Park Hyatt and got this massive, like 1,000 square foot suite in Manhattan. It's pretty serious.
Right. I'll chime in on this one. I experienced this directly. If you book 2 rooms, can both be upgraded. Quick clarifying point. You can't do this to achieve status. You can't book 2 simultaneous nights to achieve status. Yeah. But that wasn't the question. I just wanted to clarify. You can. You're not supposed to. It's only supposed to count to 1. But the one time I did it, they gave me one really good upgrade, and the other one was a 1 level upgrade that I was entitled to. So technically, yes, but you're going to have to be a pretty good, nice negotiator to get a baller upgrade on both rooms.
Same. I've done it before and gotten like a presidential and like a very nice premium suite that was still more than I was deserving of anyway. Right. So yes is the answer. It's just how much will they upgrade you, right?
All right. Well, I think that's a great point to wrap up. Thanks, everyone, for all of your great questions. Feel free to watch this again and chime in with questions along the way. That's why we leave the recordings up, so that we can, help answer questions even on the replays. Thanks, everyone. I'm sure there will be a lot of questions that come up between now and Thursday. So Andy is going to join us again on Thursday for office hours. And we'll get an invite to any other of our experts to chime in as well. So it should be a fun topic. Have a good week, everyone.
See you, everybody.
Thanks.